From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news for March 20th, 2026. These are the stories we are following at this hour. In international news, the Cuban Communist Party has shown astonishing resilience over 6 decades in power. Whether it's the United States trade embargo to counter Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution, or the widespread starvation of the special period that followed the breakup of its Cold War patron, the Soviet Union, both U.S. hostilities and calamities of its own making have proven no match for the country's leadership. But perhaps none of those crises pose as grave a threat as the one triggered by an all but declared naval siege by the Trump administration as it seeks to force regime change in the wake of its successful ousting of Cuba's longtime ally, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Even as he fights a war with Iran, President Donald Trump this week said he believes he'll have, quote, the honor of taking Cuba soon, end quote. While it wasn't clear exactly what he meant, the U.S. is looking for President Miguel Diaz-Canel to leave power as part of ongoing talks with Havana that could avert some kind of U.S. military intervention. Without declaring a formal blockade, Trump and his administration have already crippled trade with the island. Meanwhile, in Florida, a 19-year-old Mexican migrant died at a county jail in Florida that has been holding immigrant detainees, according to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to ICE, Royer Perez-Jimenez died of presumed suicide, although an official cause of death remains under investigation. The death of Perez-Jimenez on Monday is the 46th reported under Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody since the start of President Donald Trump's administration in January 2025, according to a count by the Associated Press. Perez-Jimenez is the second person to die in ICE custody this week after an Afghan immigrant whose family said he had been evacuated from his country after working for years with U.S. forces died in a Texas hospital after being detained by immigration authorities. Since the beginning of this year, 13 immigrants have died in ICE custody. Perez-Jimenez is the youngest to do so since the beginning of Trump's second term. Turning to news from Wisconsin, a second Republican leader in the Wisconsin legislature announced on Thursday he will not seek re-election this fall, another sign of the seismic shift in politics in the key battleground state, as Democrats get increasingly optimistic about gaining a majority. The two highest-ranking Republicans in the legislature are retiring, along with the Democratic governor, soon after district boundaries were redrawn in favor of Democrats who believe they can win a majority in the state Senate. Republican Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu became the latest GOP leader to retire, announcing Thursday that he would not seek a fourth term. That came after Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, the longest-serving speaker in Wisconsin history, announced his retirement last month. The time has come for a new chapter in my life, LeMahieu said in a statement announcing his decision. He did not say what he planned to do next. LeMahieu was first elected in 2014 and was chosen as Republican leader of the Senate in 2020. And finally, we have this news from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania counties could soon be keeping tabs on short-term rentals. Representative Lindsey Powell, the Democrat from Allegheny County, introduced a bill Thursday to regulate the properties which have grown in popularity through platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo, following a review of the industry. That review, she said, was spurred by violent incidents at short-term rentals in her district. The bill would require counties to keep a registry of all permitted short-term rentals, hotels, and other lodging in their jurisdiction. Each county will need to share an annual report on the short-term rentals with the Department of Community and Economic Development. Other regulations in the bill would mandate the property owners to have a 24/7 person in charge for each property and to implement safety standards such as noise monitoring devices and exterior surveillance cameras. This bill strikes a necessary balance of protecting public safety, supporting responsible operators, and ensuring transparency for local officials and law enforcement, Powell said. As short-term rentals continue to grow across Pennsylvania, we have a responsibility to put common sense safeguards in place to protect our communities. Lawmakers will hold a public hearing from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday, March 25th in room 140 at the Pennsylvania State Capitol. And that's the news at this hour. The PEP Radio channel on YouTube offers news throughout the day. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.